A new map, a new gun, a new weapon camo system, weapon and class changes, a new ping system, a new command wheel, Twitch rivals, free to play weekend. Gonna be running down through all the changes for this patch and giving you guys the info that you need to know. Before we get into this video, I just want to quickly mention that I will be participating in Twitch rivals. Kamikaze78 was kind enough to enlist me into his absolutely giga squad, and I'm really excited. So I'll really appreciate your support by checking the stream out. Anyway, onto the big news. We're going to start from the top. At the time of the recording, the patch is not live yet, but I assume it will be pushed before the Twitch Rivals update, so it should be live when this video goes up. So if things haven't been changed yet, this is my get out of jail free card, but it should all be out, I'm assuming. Anyway, let's start it off. We've got Invasion coming. 99% sure it's supposed to be more like Frontlines with vehicle gameplay as well. So then you're getting the fun of the sandbox that BattleBit has with all the vehicles, all the inventory and everything with the Frontlines effect. So it's really two teams facing off against one another instead of where Conquest you can play Ring Around the Rosie a fair bit unless you're spawn capped the enemy team. So this should be a very interesting game mode and a very fun one that really stands out to me, of more face to face. You know where the enemy should be coming from and you know what you're expected, and it should feel more like an actual Warzone type vibe and more of a battlefield. I'm very keen to try it out. Now onto the second biggest thing being added is the new map, Outskirts. So Outskirts is actually based on the original map layout of District, not the new District but the old one. That map was really a fan favorite for most people, including myself, and Velasquez has gone through with the original layout and made a whole new setting in this snowy urban environment, which looks really good. By looking through the image comparisons, you can really tell how much the map design has improved from the original maps and how much more detail and effort has been put into them. When BattleBit was still in, the maps were one of the things that were heavily criticized, and I really do have to give Velasquez credit for how much he's grown just in over a year, how visually the maps are looking a lot better. So really big props to him for improving his skills. I think this map will be interesting. I really do like the environment as well as the skybox, and the vibe is always really on target with the BattleBit Remastered maps. So very keen to try that one out. Up next, some small quality of life changes. We've got the UI change on the squad menu in the deploy screen. Just a little star is going to be next to the squad leader's name, so then you can quickly see who the squad leader is. Also, dead players now will be grayed out. Then you can just see if your teammate is downed or not. A quick read on who you can respawn on. So just a simple but effective change. Another one, we have a compass change. So it just looks like it's removing a lot of the little indicators and making it a more simplistic look. And in graphic design, a simpler look is normally a superior one. I think this one will sneak past a lot of us because really you don't really use the compass that much. Now onto the next one. This one is more of a controversial one. A lot of people were on the fence about this or don't like it, and I'm not against or for. I'll just see how it plays out. But pinging players will now make them visible on the map. So with the ping appearing directly on top of them instead of remaining stationary while the player moves away, the ping will last for 4 seconds. If a player who was spotted gets killed within 15 seconds of being spotted, the spotter will receive a spot bonus. This was one of the things I think a lot of people were asking for, at least for the spot bonus. Not really the visible on the map, but for spotting an enemy, just because in the game we do have binoculars and advanced binoculars which don't really do anything apart from giving you the advantage of zooming in, but then you can use a gun scope for that anyway. Binocs really had no use in the game, but now I can see some people actually just using them to spot enemies for your team, and seeing that they will be actually rewarded for spotting as well as being revealed on the map. Main OCE server has this feature with a kill streak of a UAV which reveals the whole enemy team. I don't know, I think it's fine in in the game time that I've played on that server, it doesn't seem to affect it that much. It just shows you where people are massing, and then it will really send everyone into that direction as well to kill the enemy. So I think it should be a decent change, and can't wait to try it out, see how it is on normal servers. And then just noting here that players will no longer be able to spot players through trees, bush or foliage, which is a healthy change. If you can't visibly see someone, you shouldn't be able to spot them, so that's a good change. Now onto an actual nerf for sniper rifles. So one of the busted things with snipers were you were able to use a medium range scope, and that would remove your glint, your scope glint, which just made you less detectable and easier to hide where you were hiding as a sniper. Now Oki has been messing around with this a few more times, but one of the main changes is sniper glint will no longer be visible through foliage, which was a big one. You could see sniper glint through trees and shit and just aim at them across the map even though you have no idea where they are, but you can see their glint and you just take pot shots. So that's been changed, which is good. And I'd like to reiterate that this medium range glint will only be on the sniper rifles because they are one-shot kill weapons, where they won't have glint on the marksman rifles because they're not a one-shot kill. So in addition to this, he put out a poll asking that the sniper glint should be only really showing to the person that you're aiming at. So essentially, when you're zooming into a certain area, only that area should be able to see your sniper glint, so then you can go, oh shit, that person's aiming at me, instead of seeing a whole field of sniper glints because you don't know which one is actually aiming at you, meaning the cone of the glint to a smaller degree to be visible. So this should be pretty good and letting you outplay your enemy a bit more by knowing how many exactly, or giving you a better idea of how many snipers are actually aiming at you and if you should take cover or not. Up next, weapon reclassification to proper categories. So there were a few weapons which were PDWs, which are actually in the carbine category, so I think they've fixed all that up and put them into their right category. This doesn't mean that much to us normal folk who do not have access to firearms, but for gun nuts and enthusiasts, this is a much welcome change. On top of that as well, they have been messing around with giving some weapons to the support and recon class and moving some of the weapons around. So for example, the AK-15 is pretty much accessible on every class. Yes, so that means you can play support and you don't have to use an LMG. You can actually use an assault rifle. Same with the recon. It's getting access to one assault rifle as well. I think the medic class is losing some weapons here and there, but I won't go fully into detail with this because I think the changes just will be easier to see in game and easier to visualize. Yes, there are more guns available to the support class now, so don't feel restricted. And then speaking of the support class, we have a new weapon. So this is the RPK16. It sounds really cool listening to it. Apparently it's just like a LMG version of an AK. I'm always down for any of the new guns sounding unique like this. Just brings another level of immersion to the game, which is really good, and I'm always keen to try out the new guns. So support players, get ready. Now onto the weapon balancing changes. We'll just do a quick rundown on this. Now they're not that big of a change, they're really just micro adjustments and nothing really that's going to dramatically change any of these weapons in my eyes. So first up, we've got the AK-74. The damage increase from 31 to 32, not doing much. Light damage increase from 4 to 6, so that's just your damage to Humvees and light vehicles. The vertical recoil lowered from 1.5 to 1.4. And horizontal recoil increased from 0.6 to 0.8, so you'll be able to control it easier, aim like pulling down, but then it's going to be shooting side to side a little bit more. The velocity increased from 700 to 720, not much. ADS time lowered from 0.25 seconds to 0.23, and reload speed increased from 1 to 1.1, so 4 seconds down to 3.64 seconds. There's a slight buff, but mainly just a balance. Shouldn't really affect it that much. Maybe just try and reduce your horizontal recoil a little bit more now. Onto the M4, the light damage increased from 4 to 5, the vertical recoil lowered from 1.5 to 1.4, and horizontal recoil increased from 0.6 to 0.7. So very similar thing to the AK. The reload speed down from 4.17 seconds to 3.76. One of the cruxes of the M4A1 was the ridiculous long reload time, so that's a nice change to see for that gun. gun. All in all, very similar to the AK adjustment. Up next, we have the ACR getting a +1 to the damage from 27 to 28. The light damage increased from 2 to 4. Vertical recoil lowered from 1.4 to 1.3. Horizontal recoil lowered from 0.8 to 0.7. ADS time lowered from 0.21 to 0.18. And reload speed increased from 3.73 down to 3.39. So all around pretty good buff for the ACR, just making that a little bit more easy to control and a faster reload time. And the damage as well, so ACR might be a weapon to look out for. Then we have the G36C, damage increased from 30 to 31, making it one of the more powerful assault rifles. A little bit of horizontal recoil decrease, velocity increased, and ADS time lowered as well. So pretty good changes. Next, we've got the HK419. It's actually getting a damage nerf by 1 from 31 to 30, as well as its light damage being reduced by 1, then just getting a quicker ADS. The AK5C, same with the damage. The vertical recoil lowered from 1.6 to 1.5, horizontal from 1.4 to 1.3. ADS, that's not even worth mentioning. And just a faster reload time on that as well. So you see a pretty reoccurring stat changes here for these guns. The F2000 damage increased from 23 to 24, the velocity from 700 to 710, and the damage fall off start increased from 50 meters to 75. So it's making it a little bit more range competitive on the F2000s, which is really good because it's one of my favorite weapons in the game. AUG light damage lowered from 12 to 6. That's fair, seeing that most of the other rifles are doing 6. So then we've got the SG550, which is damage increased by 2 to 29. The light damage from 4 to 5. Velocity increased from 640 to 680. Fire rate lowered from 700 to 670. We're reducing the fire rate but buffing the damage, so it should be roughly the same result. Last off, we have the FAMAS with a light damage increase from 0 to 4, so it can actually damage light vehicles. Horizontal lowered from 1 to 0.09. Velocity increased from 600 to 640, and ADS time lowered from 0.25 to 0.2. So really just a bunch of quality of life changes is probably making these guns all feel just a little bit nicer to use. And last for the weapons, we've got the L86A1 and the MG36 able to be used with a bipod. So nice changes for the support class once again. Another big quality of life change, particle effects for bullet impacts have been improved to make it easier to see where shots are landing. Another quality of life change, enemy players will now have collision on them, so you're still able to run through your teammates because of especially the spawn, all going to be running through each other, and that's going to be hell if you were colliding, but now you will actually collide and stop when you run into an enemy player. This just stops cluster shitfests. So just a good overall change with that. Now onto the loadout and weapon skin changes. As you can see, the visual quality of your loadout looks a lot better. Being able to see an outline of your gun instead of being on this dark black background. Really nice to see your kit up close like this. As well, you can see that now we have a primary color and secondary color for all our weapon camos. So this will give you a lot of variety and being able to mix and match a lot of different colors and variations. It does look very, very nice of what you can do with some of these camos. Just visually speaking, it does look a lot cleaner, being able to see your stats very easily now, as well as the attachments and what your gun looks like. As someone that has used a lot of the guns in Photoshop, just being able to see the gun fully and more visible like this is very pleasing to the eye. And yeah, very happy with this change. Probably expect some tweaking with it down the line. Overall, this is a really good step in the right direction. Thumbs up. Thumbs up from a graphic designer. And last off, probably the biggest quality of life change, which will diversitize, is that a word? The classes. So self-bandaging will now be as fast as the medic. One of the main things which was stopping a lot of the run and gun players choosing assault or engineer was how fast you could bandage yourself, as the medic class would just do it really quickly. So now it should feel a whole lot better when you actually get tagged and you're like, oh shit, quickly bandage, and then you can get back into the fight a lot faster. As well as they've increased the healing from 40 to 50, this will probably reduce, just instead of applying 2 bandages, you might stop and go, okay, just 1 will do me. It might not seem like much, but trust me, when you try the support class now, you can already picture it. It will feel so much better. Maybe the only nerf you can see from this is from maybe sniper players. If you don't land a headshot, then you have to follow up with your second shot pretty quickly, but that's majority of the case anyway. But I think this will be a really good change. And last of all, free to play for this weekend. So if you've been on the fence about trying out BattleBit Remastered or paying that $15, now's a good time to jump in, see if the game's for you. As well as this is probably a really good time for old players to jump back in and see all these changes, as well as the past patches that you've missed out on. Hooey! Okay, I know that was a lot of speaking, and at the time of recording, that's all the information that I have out now. Now, if there was anything else added into this patch, I'll be sure to leave a pinned comment in the comment section below with a list of all the other changes that I've missed. Also forgot to mention they are doing a collaboration with the fucking Air Force. And if you link your Twitch account, you can unlock these drops over the course of the weekend and over the course of Twitch Rivals. So I reckon this looks really sick, and I can't wait to unlock this for myself. So make sure you tune into Twitch. I should be live for all of Twitch Rivals, and I'll try and stream over the weekend itself. So make sure you come along to twitch.tv/Big Bodsta. I really appreciate anyone that pops in and says g'day. So once again, this is recorded before the official patch is pushed. I highly assume that it will be out before the free-to-play weekend goes live. If not, I'm sorry. So if it isn't pushed, expect these in the immediate future. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm eager to see you in-game or on my stream. I'll be keen to see you guys in the battlefield. In the BattleBit? I don't know. And if you're looking for some little gun tips, I've re-gone over attachment loadouts of my previous weapons. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Big Bodsta.